Hi everyone and welcome to another video tutorial. Today I am doing a exploding card. I saw a similar one on just something that passed me by on Instagram, like the structure of it, and I'm like I need to try that. So I fit a little bit of a cardstock and put it together. I really liked how it is. I have a little belly band that keeps it together, and when you remove the belly band, it kind of explodes. So it's an exploding card. So I'm going to start with the base, and I'm using three squares that measures 5.5, and this mostly because I want to get as much out of my letter size cardstock as possible. Then I'm going to score in the middle, which is 2 3/4 on both sides. So you kind of get 4 little squares out of it. I do that on all 3. Then I have this little angle thing that comes with my scoreboard, which is perfect because I am going to score it straight diagonally just over 2 of the boxes. So then I'm just going there straight diagonally over all 3 of them. Remember that you're gonna have 2 mountains and 1 valley kind of thing. However, I realized after doing this, you can just turn it upside down. So you can just score it at the same side. You don't have to worry about how you score the 3 lines. Just score them on the same side and you can fold it together. Yeah, I burnish all my edges because they become crisp, and also it makes it a little bit easier to fold the whole card together. As you see here, they kind of fold automatically into this. They were pretty easy to make that shape out of them. In the end, when you fold it together, you want 2 of them to go like mountains and the middle one to go in the opposite direction, basically, because that will make it easier to fold. I think that was how it happened. Anyhow, you will see in the end. To put them together, I am using Sookwang Tape. Again, I love this tape. It is very, very strong. It keeps together. But if you don't have this, you can use ordinary tape and glue together. If you use those together, it will stick. I will do that on the belly band. But yeah, I have this thick one that I rarely uses, so I thought I use that instead of using up all of my 1/4 inch. I'm starting to run out. I need to put in another order. And then I just layer this. I'm very careful because when you put down the Sookwang Tape, you cannot move this. So I try to line it up with the score line so that you can fold it together just like this. And then I'm going to do the same on the other side. I've chosen to layer these 2 on top, but you can layer them on the bottom if that is what you prefer, or on either side. It works the same. And then I'm just going to fold it together, and there you have your exploding card base. Next step is doing all of the layers. Now I will have all of the measurements on my blog, but I start off with the main 4 layers and the main like head layers, and those are square, and those measures 2.5 by 2.5 inches, giving me about 1/4 inch around, 1/8 inch around to put it together. And then I do 6 of these little triangles that measures 2.25 by 2.25, and I cut them in the middle diagonally so that I get little triangles. And that is to get the same kind of 8 inch of a border around that you can see of the main card base, sort of speaking. And then I do the pattern paper, and that is 1/8 inch smaller, so 2 3/8. And I do 2 of those pink ones, for 1 outside and 1 inside. And then I decided I really wanted this really beautiful busy yellow pattern, and I picked out papers that would go in between them. So one that has a little bit more pink but with more of the yellow, and then a complete yellow one. For the little triangles on the sides, I will cut 2-inch triangles. And I'm using this really beautiful flower paper. Both of these paper packs are from Doodlebug Designs. I really like these kind of tone on tone. The whole pattern paper pack is tone on tone, and you have one of each color from the color scheme that Doodlebug usually uses, which helps you to get these kind of background matching papers. So that is why I chose to go with this. And the flowers actually connect to the flowers that are in the love letters pattern paper. I think it's called that. There will be a link in the description down below to this paper. Also, it's basically the same colors as their new release that should be coming in the mail soon. So that one you could use instead and do basically the same things as I do here. So yeah. I then go through and kind of layer the triangles. As you see, I go through a couple of different tape runners because I'm running out of my favorite tape runner. They have also stopped producing my favorite tape runner. So these are tape runners that I have in my drawers. I do have a few. I don't remember if I have bought these myself just to try, or if these have come with like Simon Says stamp card kit or something like that. I know that the Crafted Companions ones are my oldest because that was the tape runner was my go-to tape runner before. And this one, I have no clue where it comes from. Anyhow, after I have matted all the triangles, I go on and mat all the rectangles just the same way. Pretty simple, just making sure that all of the little pattern paper has that little white line. It helps the images to stand out from the background, and that is why I add that layer. This is when I very, very happily put all of these pieces on top of the cardstock and to look how it would see before I put the tape on them. Because one of the things that I realize is that even though this red matches the red in the cardstock, there's too little red in the cardstock. So this red tone really stands out against it, and I want the middle part to be what stands out. So in the end, I just went in and made a new card base. This is in ripe raspberry. The other one was in red hot, and I add that instead. And because it is a lot more pink in the pattern paper, this cardstock doesn't stand out as much against these layers. And by having, as I said before, by having that white little edge around my pattern paper, I kind of help get that to pop a little bit better against the cardstock. I also ended up adding the yellow one at the end, so it's kind of a color scheme that goes from pink towards a more yellow tone. I really, really like that. And I realized that I didn't get that paper to sit down perfectly, so I add a little bit more tape on the paper, and then I'm adding the tape on the back side. So everything, because this is cardstock against paper and I don't have any functionality in it, I'm using just a normal tape runner. But whenever you have some kind of functionality, a hinge or something like that, I would recommend having either a Sookwang Tape or have a wet glue. Wet glue sticks really, really good. However, it takes time to dry. So you need to have a little bit of time if you want to use wet glue. I think like glue stick also is good. Paper to paper is really, really good. I don't know for construction though. And then I finish it off by adding the last layer on the outside. So that is kind of the cover of the card. And that is the card base done. So now all we have to do is decorating, and I'm going to do that mostly with pieces from the pattern paper. I have made these little envelopes, and you will have a schema and cut files and templates over on my blog. I just used the template and cut it out, but there will be PNGs and SVGs to be able to use it in your cutting machine, if that worked better. Had those little cute bears from the Itty Bitty Bears, by My Favorite Things. And then I have fussy cut like 1,000 pieces from the pattern paper. I basically sit and fussy cut in front of the telly when I'm watching TV series and stuff. So I just continued cutting. I'm not going to need all of them. And then I used those dies. They are the Tag Builder 5 dies. And cut out a couple of matching cardstock hearts. So I used cardstock that I felt matching, which is like Ripe Raspberry Princess Pink, maybe? No, Bubblegum Pink. And some grey cardstock, Gravel Grey, most likely. After I used my glue to put these together because I felt that was the easiest way. And then I just add my ink pad on top of them. I did fold down to see where those edges was, so I put the glue on the little tabs first, fold it down so that I didn't put glue at the bottom of that top tab, so to speak, and added glue over that so that the envelope actually works as an envelope. Then I'm going to put my little envelope on top here. You can just decorate as you want, but I am going to show you how I have decorated this. I have 3 itty bitty bears, so I will only use 3 of them when I do my decoration. Here I push some pressure on the glue so that it can dry. I finish off with a little kind of text, and these texts are cut out from the little tags that comes in this pattern paper pack. So I had cut out a bunch of tags, and a couple of those tags were just not, I made a hole in them and it was crooked and not good at all. So instead I cut that piece off, I cut out the lettering and just used it as my kind of sort of sentiment on these. So it's more like a journal than a card, I think, but I kind of like it. A journal, album, something like that. I'm using a piece of cardstock. I was kind of trying to figure out those triangles, if I was doing the right size. So I had a couple of them in some cardstock that I won't be using. So I'm using that to kind of remove a little bit of glue here and there. Yes, when you see that little yellow triangle, you know what it is. Then I thought it would be fun for this little bear to kind of pop out of the envelope. And then I take these little cards and flowers. I wanted to have things behind that cute bear. I also tape down my little envelopes. You could just use these envelopes to put like teeny tiny notes in them. I just use them as plain decoration, but you can use them for anything. It was so much fun creating the envelope. I did like 4 different tries before I got this to look the way I wanted. And I learned a lot about envelopes. I was looking at like different envelope shapes and different way, like how I could put them together. And I learned a lot. So I will definitely be making more different kinds of envelope. I wanted this to be a specific size, which is 1 inch by 1.5 inch, kind of when you close it down, because then it works folded up on this kind of 2 3/8 piece of pattern paper. I cut out the little hands on the last Bitty Bear, and then I kind of looked through all of my little pieces to figure out which could fit there, and I saw this little card would fit perfectly, so that is how I then glued it together. I did realize that I wanted to have the little bear at the top one, and I only had 3 of those gray bears. Again, I colored like 20 different bears in different brown colors and figured out that because there is no brown at all in this pattern paper, it just didn't work. However, they did have this gray tone in the pattern paper, so I decided to make gray bears, even though they might not exist. A dirty polar bear maybe. And here I use that cute little birdie that I also fussy cutted out of, I think out of the tags. I fussy cutted some out of the pattern paper, specifically the pink pattern paper, to get all of those cute little letters, which I have way too many of. And then I picked a whole bunch of the tags that I just cut out pieces of, because I do have... you get 2 double-sided sheets per pattern, so then you can use one to fussy cut and one to layer with. So that was what I did. And for most of the letters, it comes for the offcut from the panels, the front panels. Did have these kind of admit one border pieces, so I picked out in a couple of colors these cute little admit one, and then I'm just layering other pieces. Again, I'm using the My Favorite Things glue for this. It's super easy, and it actually dries pretty quick. Getting my little bear there, I decided to put a little quote here which says a day filled with love and happiness. And then I'm adding a second final quote up here, sending love your way. And I think that is, yeah, I did add a couple more letters. I felt the bottom was a little bit empty, so I picked up a bunch of those little letters, finally added this tree of letters that actually comes from a tag at the bottom there, and I felt that then it was done. So that is the final kind of card and all of the different designs. If you want to see the different layouts a little bit more, you find that on my blog. Then we have the belly band left. I did a 1/2 inch strip of cardstock. I think I just did the 8.5 side of the letter size one, and here I use tape and glue together, so the tape can hold on while the glue dries. Basically, it makes it sturdy and it makes it a little bit easier. When you wrap your belly band, you want to give it a little bit of give, so you don't want it too tight, so that you can put it back on again, and you can actually remove it. If you put it too tight, it will just stick there and you will not be able to open your card. Here I love here I use one of those tags. It says love you a bunch. That was why I said here I love. Anyhow, I add the tag and I add my final envelope, and on the belly band it's just taped on the belly, or glued onto the belly band, so that you can remove all of it. And yeah, that is the whole tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. I had so much fun creating this, just being creative and just putting things together that I really like. I know that this is a little bit more busier than I usually do, but as I said, I had so much fun. If you like this, please thumbs it up. It means a lot to me. If you have any questions, just comment down below. And down below in the description, you can find all the details of the card. If you want to see more of this, just hit that subscribe button, and I will see you later. Bye!